Hello everyone, welcome to this Facebook Live with Moira Bramley and myself, Wynne-Jones.
Hey guys.
And a brilliant thing that Moira said about recently about being different is that there are way more ways to be different than there are to be normal, and I love it. I actually just did a interview with Max for it's about being you, but they're creating a documentary about what's different about you, and
right.
Max asked me a bunch of questions, and it really actually got to me in a really sort of different way, and it was quite confronting actually, just even some of those questions about what's different about you, and what is different for you, and yeah, it brought up a lot.
Do you want to talk more about that, what it brought up for you and how you engage with it differently or more than you have before, and what you got to?
Yeah, I mean, I cried a lot.
Yeah.
But, it was, I think it was one of the first actually classes I did with Gary and Dane. I don't know if I spoke about this even last time we were talking, but I was at the back of the room, and Gary pointed to me and said, "You've got a question." And I hadn't said anything, but I was being this energy, and it was just an acknowledgement of the way that I'd always kind of had this idea of how energy actually worked and being aware of energy. And I was just talking about how it was such an acknowledgement of a different way of functioning that I'd never really allowed myself to fully be.
So was it that you didn't allow yourself to fully be? Is that because you hadn't acknowledged it? Were you not being it, or did you just not acknowledge it, or were you stopping yourself from being that because people couldn't receive it, or what was that?
Well, yeah, I don't think there was really anyone really in my life at that time that fully received it and then actually engaged with it and interacted with it in that way, Right. I'd get hints that people were aware of different things, but this was just there was no mucking around. It was straight communication,
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
So somebody actually acknowledged your reality.
I guess so, yeah. And I know we're the only ones that can, but it definitely helped.
Yeah. So what was it that Max asked you that got you even further to acknowledge even further and step into claiming on and acknowledging more of?
Well, it was literally just these really simple questions of what does being different mean to you, and what's different about you, these questions that just actually got me to really start to look at it.
So it got you to connect more right there and then with your very being about what was different, what is different for you.
Yeah. What about for you, Moira? What would
you
say?
Exactly that. When I first went to an Access class, I was like, whoa, this is different. Like they engage with me, like, holy shit, because most people, I mean, I wasn't even that present when I first went to an Access class. But I was definitely more present than normal. And when they engage with me, I'm like, okay, I thought it was just animals that engaged with you like that. I didn't think that people engaged with you like that. So when they did, it was, holy shit, this exists. And from then, I've literally been looking to see how I can be in the world that doesn't, and it changes all the time, that doesn't, it's almost like when you reach somebody's very being, it's like you've assaulted them. They're like, whoa, it's, So I've learned to make what I be now, energies that I be, way more space, and engage with people, and I'm still learning, engage with people with where they can connect with you, where they can engage with you. And I remember Susie saying, you're more like a dog, you function more like a dog. And I'm like, yeah. So so yeah, I've been very aware that a lot of people have found me very intimidating, and it's because I don't shrink my space.
Yeah.
I include people in my space, and I don't shrink my space. But this, and I used to be confused as well, because a lot of people, like, I couldn't find them. I'm like, well, where are they? And a lot of people are not in their bodies. They're not connected to their bodies. So that was major, because I always thought that was me. I was like, well, why am I ignoring these people? Like, they're not even there for me. But they weren't there. The body was there, but they were like way, away from.
When you spoke about that piece also of like that you don't, you're intimidating because you don't like shrink the space of you. It's like one of the questions that Max asked me was like, what does someone who is different look like to you? And for me, it's like that was one of the things that I was talking about, is like, for the people that I recognize as different, it's like when they walk into a room, there's an engagement that they be that goes way beyond like whoever they're talking to, but it's like their energy interacts with everyone, in that space in a really different way. And that's one of the ways that I sort of have, recognized who's actually sort of different and choosing something different and being something different.
Yeah.
And that's to be honest, not very many people.
Yeah, I know. And there are how many people are so different, and yet they are shrinking themselves and hiding themselves because they're ashamed of how different they are.
Yeah. Well, we're not really like, you're not really sort of taught anywhere in school or anything like that being different is like at all valuable. It's all about fitting in. And yeah.
I heard Shannon say something one time, and I wrote it down because I love it. It's like, holy moly, this is awesome. She says, this homogenization of our functionality destroys the diversity and the difference that makes the world a magical possibility. How awesome is that?
Yeah.
So our difference, we're all different. We all have different capacities. And when we all get together, what we can create is, holy moly, it's like magical.
Yeah.
And we require that diversity. If we were all the same, I mean, it's like we're very limited.
Well, I guess that's, if you look at like you look at a forest and you look at the difference, if it's like a pine forest plantation, it's got a certain energy to it, and it can be really nice. But you go to a forest that has, hundreds and thousands of different plants, animals, insects, all contributing, and it's like it's a totally different energy and contribution, and like an organism like creating with each other that just adds so much more.
Mm-hmm. And another thing that I found very difficult most of my life is there's a lot of things that people would talk about, or energies of their being, and I couldn't understand them. And Liam also, my son Liam, also made himself incredibly wrong for people not getting him. He went to, I'm stupid. He thought he was stupid. Now, we can't understand lies. If there's something a lie, we're just not going to understand it.
Right.
Well, people would talk about things that made no sense to me, and I would be like, oh, I'm so stupid, I don't get this. But it was a lie that I couldn't understand the lie. So how many people are trying to understand insanity?
Yeah. And I guess there's, that's something that has always been something for me as well, is like if someone is saying something but it doesn't match the energy that they're being, it's like you may as well be like talking, a different language, because it's like it just doesn't make sense.
And that was very confusing for me. And again, I made myself stupid for that. I was like, okay, I'm stupid. I don't engage very well with people. I'm stupid.
Well, that's so funny though too, because when like in, for example, just even before like messaging to do this live, it's like you're so quick to like address the energy, and it's like even before I've gone to type something, you'll just already say like what it is that I was going to ask. Or so it's also that quickness that's actually available when you're willing to function from a different place and a different space that, like, you know, so many people I think don't even perceive as a possibility. But it's like,
Yeah.
if you can perceive it, you know, you can also be it. And so, I mean, what's available for us all if we're willing to look at a different way of being and
and that's something that I've had to work a lot with. Is I'm so fast at picking up energies that I can easily react on that energy before I've even given myself a moment to be with it. You know what I mean? And I've watched how some people, like, you'll show them an energy and they'll get it a minute later, and I'm like, God, I'm fast. So it is a capacity that you have to get a handle on, or you're like all over the place, a mess with it. So yeah, it's fascinating. We all have amazing capacities that until we recognize. I had no idea that I had that speed of picking up energies until it was shown to me.
Right. And I would say that piece of, like, when, you know, like you were saying, it was shown to you, and, you know, for me, I guess that story of, you know, the interaction with Gary at the first foundation class. But it's like, I think those are the things that start to put into your awareness, like, a different way of also interacting with the future, because it actually starts to bleed from the present into the future. And it's like, that's when that, you know, simultaneity of...
So funny what's going up right now, because I get things before they're going to happen, and I've never been willing to say that before, because people go, oh, she's an idiot, you know. But I actually oftentimes will perceive something seconds before they happen, or you know, even a minute before they occur. I'll be like, okay, that's going to occur. And Liam's like, he's days and weeks he'll perceive it, and years. Like, okay, that's going to happen.
Yeah, well, that's something that I've been asking for as well, you know, because I love the way that, for example, Gary will talk about something, you know, 3 years ago, and it's just showing up today, and I'm like, how, like, that I would like to have way more of that, you know, that awareness of the future.
Me too. Me
well,
too.
I think that's something that we'll definitely be able to play with and see what we can, you know, create and contribute. And
yeah.
Very cool. Anything else that you wanted to?
Did I see, have a quick look at a note and see if there's anything there that I can...
I haven't seen any questions so far or anything, but I think people are happy. They're very saying thank you and love this and hello, and they're enjoying the conversation. So, and Moira and I are going to do a few more. We're going to do a conversation once a fortnight, and so
can't bring up my notes. That's so funny. My notes always pop up like that, and they won't come up. So that's funny, and that's a capacity. There's another capacity that we have. It's like somewhere we ignore our awareness. We ignore what our being knows and goes, yeah, I've probably got quite a lot to talk about. Let me see my notes. And it's like, no. We've got nothing to do with that.
The universe has a funny way of delivering exactly what's required.
I think a lot of what I'm thinking that I'd like to talk about on the class that we're doing is where we, how to put that into words, where we come out of being constantly to make other people comfortable. I mean, I know it seems like an old topic, but you know, when Max asked you that question and you were like, wow, I got it on a whole different level. I'm getting on a whole different level how I keep holding myself back because people can't receive who I be. And I've been looking for different ways to, like I say, widen and making the space greater and not, but still almost hiding energies, you know? I'd like to talk about that a lot, how we diminish ourselves because it's too much for people.
And I get as well with that, like a lot of these conversations are also these places where, you know, we to some degree have to be willing to go whether anyone comes or not, because, you know, there is no reference point for really being that here. It's like it's not something that we know or can, you know, have many examples for, or it's, you know, it's like a choice that's available to us. That,
you know, what's coming up is when I be, there are a lot of people that are like, whoa, and they won't come near me. And I've noticed when you be, there was like one time you were sat on a beach in Malaysia at 7 day, and you were being so present, so potent, and just that you had that presence. Nobody would come near you. Nobody would come near you. And it's that. It's that, you know. It's and I've watched Gary, the founder of Access Consciousness, and Dane be an energy that makes them very approachable. So yeah, that's a question I'm in, is to practice what you can be, so that you can be, and you can be that intensity of energy, and yet you're still approachable.
Yeah, and I think they're very good at doing both when they want to use the different energies. So yeah, I like that, having more choice with it and being able to actually, you know, have it actually work for you and create more as well. And but yeah, I would say that's something that I've noticed as well, of the people that actually inspire, like, for me, a greater possibility are the people that are willing to be an energy that makes you feel uncomfortable, or, you know, puts you in the question about, you know, what else is actually available. And
but it's that hiding, isn't it? People, I was looking at that and I was like, I was watching you with Silas, and you were being so affectionate and patient and beautiful with Silas. And I was like, well, people can see that's the energy that he's bringing, and yet they still won't approach him. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's that shame base, and that's something that has to be addressed. If people function from, it's that shame base, you know, which is an implant. So it's like, no, I can't, that's too much. I'm not enough. I don't know what to say. So this is another thing that I'd love to deal with, social skills, or the lack thereof. It's like, so many people will not step into being who they are because they most people go to, I don't know what to say to you.
Yeah.
I don't know how to approach you. I don't know what to say to you.
Oh yeah, that was a huge thing for me for a long time. Like, you know, and I remember Gary just saying, just take your foot out of your mouth.
Yeah. The other thing is, I mean, like we spoke on the last live, there's a lot of time you'll go to speak and you can't, and you know, and this is about perceiving the future, you know, before you go stand next to somebody, that there's not a lot you can say other than small talk.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've always stopped myself from going there until I realised that small talk can lead to so much gifting and receiving. So that's another topic. I mean, there's so many areas that we can make in. Yeah.
I know, and I think we can't go on too much longer, or we're going to start doing the class.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
And also, people are asking, you know, thank you so much for this conversation, and what is the class coming up? The class we have coming up is called, this is so funny, I always forget what the class is called right before I'm going to say it. When you don't fit. I think this is my item, apparently. So we're going to be having a conversation, and Gary Douglas actually gave us the title for this class, and when I heard it, I just thought, it's perfect. So yeah, come along.
Because if you don't fit, then what? Exactly.
So I'll post the link in the chat. If you guys are interested, you can find it there. And again, I'll see you in about a fortnight, Moira, and we'll have another conversation.
Thank you, so look forward to it.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Enjoy
the
flowers coming out.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.